Good morning. Welcome to the live stream 2020 annual meeting of seCTer, the Southeastern Connecticut Enterprise Region. I'm Nancy Kauser, seCTer's Executive Director.
And I'm Mark Oefinger, Chairman of the Board of Directors. I join Nancy in welcoming you to this live stream event, which is being staged at Creative Konnection in our member community of New London.
In a reflection of this unique year, we're taking a unique approach to how we share the story of our 2019-2020 fiscal year. Mark and I will be your moderators, and we will walk through the necessary reporting on our operations and financials. More importantly, surrounding that, we'll be letting the voices of our clients tell you our story and our impact on regional economic development and survival.
In between brief reports on the budget, leadership recognition, and key data points, we will be hearing from our 4 diverse seCTer clients, faces of resilience, one and all, as they walk us through how their companies had to immediately course correct to navigate the moment by moment challenges of a pandemic.
Mark's mention of the term navigating was a common phrase heard at seCTer over the past few months and became the inspiration for the videos we're going to be presenting this morning. Other phrases from righting our ship to there is no compass for something like this were applied to many businesses as they charted a course through the unknown.
This is a great place to introduce our first story, Nancy, that of a sports equipment manufacturer who took on something new, completely unfamiliar to them, personal protective equipment, as athletic fields everywhere fell silent.
And here's our first face of resilience, Neil Gilman of Gilman Gear in Basra. Please roll video.
Gilman Gear is a 91-year-old company that manufactures football field equipment. The company was started by Marty Gilman, my father. My father pioneered the development of all the training equipment that's used to get a team ready to play. I grew up in the business, learned the business from the inside out, and the business has become my life as well as my livelihood. When I look back on what was going on in March, when the pandemic was spreading across the country, all our customers were shut down, including the NFL. You know, I looked around and I said, what can I do here that would keep my employees working? Because I didn't want to shut down the business. I had heard that there was a shortage of surgical gowns and isolation gowns. What I did is I went to a local hospital and begged and borrowed a surgical gown and a isolation gown. And I brought it in and I said, can we make this? We sewed up some prototypes. We submitted it to Yale New Haven Hospital. I remember as if it were yesterday, they came back to me and said, you know, we like your product. How fast can you make it? When we first started making these, we made like 40 gowns in a week. Fast forward to today, we now make 10,000 gowns in a week. seCTer helped us out primarily by letting us defer payment, interest, and principal on the loan that we had from seCTer. Second thing that seCTer did is they put us in touch with an outfit called PTAC. PTAC has been critically important to giving us a window on the world of who's buying the PPE. I'm very proud of the fact that the product that we make in this factory goes right to the front lines. I walk out in the factory now, we have more employees working than we've ever had. I know that we've made an impact, and that gives me tremendous pride.
Neil, thank you so much for taking the time to tell your story. seCTer was honored to help you through this challenging time, and we wish you continued success in creating much needed PPE as we face another viral spike.
We're going to segue from a story of a sports manufacturer to recognition of some really great sports, our outgoing board members, and the issuance of the second annual Dick Erickson Award that will be part of seCTer's annual meetings going forward.
At this time, on behalf of the entire team of seCTer and our dedicated board of directors, I'd like to recognize and thank the following board members who are completing their terms of service. And they are John Beauregard, John Burt, James Butler, and Robert Mills. From committee service to expertise to advice to guidance, these board members help define the successful operation that seCTer has become and that our region really needs during these demanding days. Thank you, one and all. We really couldn't have done this all without you. It's also appropriate that I take a moment to recognize and thank our entire board for your dedication and support. Thank you to those who have chosen to join us anew and those who are continuing their terms. We need you more than ever. Thank you.
Continuing our recognitions, at this time I ask you to join me in celebrating this year's recipient of the 2020 Dick Erickson Award, our board member and dedicated partner, John Beauregard. John is the recently retired president and CEO of EWEB, Eastern Connecticut Workforce Investment Board, and has been an active and influential seCTer board member for many years.
John, please accept the gratitude of the entire board and the community of seCTer for your years of dedicated service. Your service to the employers and workers of this region, especially your efforts to establish the nationally renowned Manufacturing Pipeline Initiative and the non-traditional education models in our local school systems, will have a lasting impact on our community for generations to come. You embody the values of former long-term board member Dick Erickson, and it's only fitting that you're the recipient of this well-deserved honor, which I know you're probably very humble about, which is your nature. Anyone who knows Dick knows that it's always about the community and giving back. So in your honor, John, a generous donation will be made to the charity of your choice. Thank you so much. Our next face of resilience is AGCT Corp of Clinton, a service-disabled, veteran-owned small business that has found success supporting government, commercial, municipal, and housing projects for nearly 40 years. CEO Chuck Fetters and his team came to understand that our CTP-TAC program was destined to become their best friend. And let's see that story.
AGCT is a service-disabled, veteran-owned small business. The company came together for the idea of how can we service vets better? How can we reach out to them and want to give them a hand? Because every vet I've ever met doesn't want a handout, they want a hand up. So we want to give them an opportunity. Many of them are very, very skilled and they're very proud in what they do. The last 6 months have been very interesting. Never seen anything like this in the 37 years I had been in business. And we had a really bad winter, so we count on, the winter income. So we had next to no snow, which everybody knows. And then COVID started February, March, and we started getting notices that people like, we're not doing this job, we're not doing that job. So we met with seCTer and PTAC, and we had said to them, we're really concerned, like, what are we going to do? This is our core is this. What's out there? What's going to be the new thing? And they said, well, the optimum thing is going to be PPE. I said, all right. So we immediately started learning about it, sourcing it, importing it, learning to bid it. And because of their help, we're still here. Having people that guide you, that will help you and show you how to do it, what to do, and made such a huge difference. We get so many emails from them on, look at this job, look at that job, look at this job. It's amazing. They give you the tools to build your house. They let you see that you can have the confidence. We're going to stay with the PPE. We're going to continue to do other projects. And I think the future is looking very bright for us. And that's a great feeling. It really is.
Like the sudden changes that Chuck and his team described, seCTer, the designated economic development agency for the region, did not know what to expect when 8 months into the fiscal year, a worldwide pandemic impacted everything. from international trade, manufacturing, arts and music venues, the hospitality sector, tourism, the service sector, Main Street businesses, to local breweries.
That's correct, Mark. Halfway into our fiscal year, things were really looking great. We were on target with our program goals, holding our own financially, and we were looking to add a new program. Then, very suddenly, overnight, we were making plans to close the office while simultaneously upgrading technology so staff could work from home and continue to provide the customer support that was so necessary. We also started looking at all our clients, including our loan clients, and considering how market circumstances would impact them and ultimately seCTer. It was really looking bleak at that time. But I'm proud to share that partnerships only strengthened as we banded together to get resources into the hands of vulnerable businesses, making connections between clients and new opportunities. We're surviving, even thriving, during these unprecedented times. Let me share a few financial highlights with you from the past fiscal year. Our total assets now stand at just under $7 million, which is an increase of about $171,000 year over year. Our total support and revenue last year was just over $1.2 million, an increase of about $140,000. And that increase was for direct resource to the community. Therefore, our expenses increased by about $151,000. Most surprisingly, 2020 marked our fourth year of consistent profitability, even in the face of the pandemic, resulting in a current net asset of about $400,000. As the close of our fiscal year, seCTer had more than $5 million invested in the community through our loan portfolio, supporting small and medium-sized businesses in the region, and we have more available to lend. All of these results were achieved despite deferring more than half of our loan pipeline during the first few months of the pandemic. We were able to continue to achieve all of our program goals and maintain and grow state and federal support despite these significant challenges. As a result, our Community Economic Development Agency is well positioned heading into increased choppy waters ahead.
Thank you, Nancy, for those very positive highlights. I, like many members of the board, can recall a time when seCTer's financial outlook and our prospects for economic development in the region were not quite as positive. My compliments to you, the seCTer staff, and my fellow board members for seCTer's very sound operations and for bringing together these community and regional resources.
Thank you, Mark, for your recognition. It really means a lot. Very much appreciated. seCTer has made the most of every opportunity. An opportunity is the theme behind our next Face of Resilience, featuring Genesis Diagnostics of Oakdale. This genetic testing lab went from performing 3,000 tests a year to performing over 50,000 tests so far this year by adding COVID diagnostic testing to their services. This includes providing services to passengers coming into Bradley Airport so that they don't have to quarantine for 2 weeks if they can get a negative test. How did this team manage such dramatic growth? They didn't do it alone. Let's see how they did it.
Genesis Diagnostics is a genetic testing specialty and diagnostic company. We do all kind of genetic testing. seCTer is the organization that gave us the funding to start the business. When COVID started, we were the first lab after Department of Public Health to start COVID testing in Connecticut and New England. It's been really hectic. Everything was shut down and we had to do all this work. It was really tough, but we were working like sometimes 20-hour days. We have hired 20, maybe 25 more people. Last year we did 3,000 tests. This year we've done about 50,000 tests. We have been very fortunate to be able to serve so many people. In many cases, we could provide results in time so that the infection can be controlled. It has been very rewarding to serve the community at the time of need.
Thank you, Sunita, for sharing your story and for all those 20-hour days that you and your team have put in. I and the community they serve thank the team at Genesis for their hard work and service to the region, the state, and beyond. No one could have predicted such a demand for testing would be on the horizon, and I admire how Genesis has grown their team and resources so quickly to address this urgent need.
The horizon offers a great perspective, Mark. When we're talking about both looking back upon what we accomplished at seCTer this past year, what we expect to accomplish, and when we look ahead. Looking back, our key accomplishments included securing $2.3 million in CARES Act funding from the Department of Commerce's Economic Development Administration for new loan funding and economic recovery efforts, helping our CTP Tech clients achieve more than $217 million in contracts and subcontracts last year, establishing a state satellite site for the popular Small Business Development Center, and welcoming a dedicated and passionate business advisor at the beginning of this current fiscal year. Her impact has been immediate. Through the support of DECD, securing funding to support the most vulnerable businesses at the beginning of the pandemic with loan deferrals. And you'll hear about a lot of that in these videos for those clients most impacted by the pandemic and who needed a hand to survive. And we've confirmed a partnership with EDA to provide regional coordination of economic recovery projects, including technical assistance. Looking ahead, in addition to maintaining the resources we have underway, our plans include welcoming a resilience coordinator to help regional businesses, municipalities, and economic development partners navigate the continuing impact of the pandemic. We remain at the table with the Connecticut Department of Economic and Community Development, Advanced CT, and municipal leaders to ensure that we're coordinating these new funding sources and making sure that we get them out into the community in the best possible way. Moving forward on our recently awarded partnership grant with CT Next and Thames River Innovation Place, more commonly known as TRIP, we've leveraged matching funding to put together a new program that will gather critical data for not only ourselves, but for the entire region to learn more about what drives new relationships to the community. And hot off the press, we've just learned that we've been approved to increase our lending area up into northeastern Connecticut. So our impact just keeps growing. Underpinning all these efforts will be new programs and resources. And I take this opportunity to invite those watching to please stay tuned to our social media and follow seCTer and subscribe to our e-newsletters for further updates. There's going to be a lot to come. Most importantly, I really want to thank the entire staff of seCTer. You are rock stars. There was nothing that was too hard, too difficult, or too challenging during these difficult times. You continue to make such visions and opportunities possible, and our community would not be the same without you. I thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Hearing about efforts, partnerships, and investing with a vision for the future brings to mind our final face of resilience, Beard Brewing Company of Stonington and Groton.
Mark, this final story is possibly the most compelling. While no one was immune from the impact of the pandemic, among the hardest hit and still hardest hit are our friends in the hospitality industry. Friends like Aaron and the employees he cares so deeply about. Aaron turned to seCTer, and we were honored to be his partner through this process. Please roll video.
The Beard Brewing Company was started in 2012 by myself and my wife. I was going to work every day, coming home, enjoying good beer. My wife and my mother said, you need a hobby other than just drinking this. Why don't you take a stab at making it? So I started homebrewing and I got the bug. Wrote a business plan, presented it to my wife and said, hey, I think we can do this. It just started going well. Flash forward, here we are 8 years later, and we have almost 30 employees. Navigating COVID has been an interesting experience. It's something that no one has ever thought about and no one knew what the actual impact would be. I had just finished a major project, which was the build out of our Groton-based tap room. We had opened it, it was going well for 6 weeks. That's when it started getting real. We kind of went into crisis mode. Explaining and communication to the team has been very important throughout the COVID crisis. At first, it was just remain calm. The ship is not sinking. And so it was hard. We had to lay the team off. We had to make sure we were going to be there on the other side and that there was a ship to come back to. It was very difficult to, look at people and say, your income's gone. We're going to do the best to cover your health insurance and make sure that you have a job to come back to. So we just got back to what we know best: bootstrap, do the work we had to do, get the product out, and hope that we can get the payments in. So we pulled together, those of us on salary, did what we had to do. Just everything we possibly could in the hours that were there. We just kept moving forward. We brought back people as soon as we possibly could. The relationship during the beginning of COVID with seCTer was super imperative. Bills were coming due. seCTer was very quick to put together some deferment packages that really helped us maintain cash in the bank. The most rewarding thing to come out of COVID has been the fact that we've not had to furlough anyone for a very long period of time. There was a short period where it was very uncertain and we didn't know if we were going to be able to have cash in the bank. But again, thanks to our lending partners like seCTer, we were able to defer some of our loan payments and maintain our employees. So it's just been great to know that we were able to support the team through the entire crisis.
I think that Aaron said it all when he expressed that we did what we had to do. We made the most of every hour we had, and we got through. Thank you, Aaron, and all of our faces of resilient storytellers for sharing how they have navigated so far through the current pandemic crisis and how they continue to right their ships. Your resiliency is truly inspirational.
Making the most of every hour is very much true for Aaron and for us, Mark. And our goal was to occupy no more than an hour of your time. And as a result, it's time for some concluding remarks. On behalf of the entire seCTer community, thank you all for joining us today. Thank you. We appreciate your time, and we appreciate you serving as our advocates, passing along what you learned about the economic development efforts in our region. You'll find that the Faces of Resilience videos are on our website, our YouTube channel, and on our social media, and there'll be more to come. You'll also find a copy of our annual report downloadable from the same resource. And I'm so proud to tell you that all of the information delivery you experienced today was produced by incredibly talented local partners, including 86 Media on the videos, brand management across all media by Miranda Creative, and a seamless experience for this live stream by the community here at Creative Connections. The wonderful ship named America, as seen on the opening and closing credits, is on display at the Hendel Library at the Lyman Island Museum. And now for the final words of resilience. I'm going to let the voices of our incredibly committed, passionate clients that we serve bring our meeting to a conclusion. Thank you.
seCTer is the organization that gave us the first funding.
They put us in touch with an outfit called PTAC. PTAC has been critically important to a window on the world of who's buying the PPE.
seCTer was very quick to put together some deferment packages that really helped us maintain cash in the bank.
And because of their help, we're still here.
And because of you, seCTer will always be here. Thank you so much for joining us today. That concludes our annual meeting, but our work is just beginning. Let's hope for some smoother sailing in the days ahead. And on behalf of seCTer's staff, our board of directors, and the community we serve, thank you.